tests today are your direct comparison test and your limit comparison test. So both of these tests, we're going to be picking another series to compare the original series to. Hence, comparison tests. Okay? We're going to make a statement about them and be able to say something about the original. So the tricky part today is going to be picking that original series, or sorry, picking that new series to compare to the original. And that's the tricky part. Okay, so again, we have the direct comparison and the limit comparison. The first one we're going to learn about is the direct comparison. And I'm going to give you a picture. On the first one, it says b sub n term by term is greater than a sub n. So just term by term. So b sub 3 would be greater than or equal to a sub 3. B sub 10 would be greater than or equal to a sub 10. Okay, so term by term, b sub n is bigger. And it says b sub n is convergent, but it's also greater than 0. So I would say it would be something like this. Convergent, but greater than 0. So now if I have to go draw in a sub n, and a sub n is always smaller than b sub n, but it's still greater than 0, do you agree it's going to have to be somewhere in there? So what does a sub n also have to do? Converge. Yes? Now, what if, again, b sub n is bigger and b sub n diverged? So there's my b sub n. What could a sub n do? Could a sub n converge? Could a sub n diverge? So does this help me if I know b sub n diverges? Okay, so b sub n diverging doesn't help. Does that make sense? But b sub n converging does help. It tells me that a sub n is also going to converge. Okay, so there's that one. Let's look at the other one over here. Now it says that a sub n, which is the smaller one, diverges. So there's my a sub n. And if b sub n is always bigger, what is it going to do? I can't cross it, right? Can't do that. Okay, so it also has to diverge. So this is beneficial. This helps me. However, what if a sub n, I just know, hey, a sub n converged. That was what was given. Do I know anything about b sub n?
No.
No, it could diverge, it could converge, we don't know. So this piece of information, again, doesn't help. So basically, in layman terms, we either want the smaller one to diverge or the bigger one to converge. Other information doesn't help. Okay, so let's write that down. Down by the man. B sub n is, converging, then a sub n has to. Put your face on the roof. If a sub n is diverging, then b sub n also has to. Okay. Those other two pieces of information don't help me any. So that's kind of our goal. We're going to start with the series, and we're going to compare it to something else. So let's say that I started with a sub n, or no, actually, hold on. Let's say that I started with b sub n being some series, okay? And then I went and I compared it to some series of A sub n. And I showed that A sub n diverged, right? What would I have to say about B sub n? That it is greater than or equal to. And that's what we're going to be doing. Okay? So let's look at this one. We are going to take this guy right here. And we're going to compare it. So fill in the blank, right? We're going to compare it either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to another series. And the other series, you want to make it similar as possible so you can see what's happening term by term. So I'm just going to drop off that plus 2. Good? And what can I say about this series now? This new series. Is it the bigger or is it smaller? Let's write a few terms and see. Plug in 1. That would be 1 over 5. Plug in 2. 14. Plug in 3. 29. Okay. Let's look over here. Plug in 1. Plug in 2. Plug in 3. Okay. So when the denominator is bigger, the overall number is smaller. So I know it's this guy, right? Okay. Now, that's my first step. The second step that we're going to do is we're going to state what happens to this new one. We hope, since it's the bigger, that it does what? Converges. If it diverges, something else. This doesn't work. Okay? We're just done some stuff that doesn't help us. So we hope, since it's the bigger, that it's going to converge. To push this one down to also converge. And in fact, what do I know what kind of series this is? It's a P series. We could, if it helps you, you could write it like that if you want. Does that help to see the P series? Okay, that C doesn't matter, right? So what does this do by the P series? This is the P series. We can pull out that 1/3 in front. That's what I was saying. It's the same exact thing. Oh, what's the condition? Oh, sorry. It does converge. It has to be greater than 1. Okay, so this guy converges by, and you have to tell me, by the P series. Yes? So now, we have made the statement, this is the third thing. We have made the statement of the inequality. We have told what happens to this guy. And now what can we conclude also happens to the original? Huh? This is your summation. Got it like that? Does that help? Okay. So what can you also conclude about this? Converges, because it's the smaller, right? So it also converges by direct comparison test. What do you think? Oh my gosh, please. Okay, let's look at the next one.
You asked what I thought.
Okay, so first thing, and I'm just going to rewrite the square root as into the 1/2. So what do I want to compare it to term by term? Any ideas? And what statement are we saying? Which one is bigger here? Is this a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to?
Greater than or equal to.
It is a greater than or equal to. Because now this has the bigger denominator, which makes it a smaller number overall. So that's a minus, not a plus. Yes? So now, if this guy's bigger, what are we hoping this guy does? We're hoping it diverges to make this guy push up and also diverge. Well, what happens to it? It does diverge by the p-series. Yay!
Are they all going to be by the p-series?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Huzzah!
Third step is we say that this guy also diverges by direct comparison test.
Can we put DCT, or do we need to write it out?
You can everywhere but a quiz or a test.
Okay.
Okay? If you put DCT on your test without stating what it is somewhere, you're wrong. I'm not going to assume I know what that is. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll do all day. Now, somewhere you put DCT equals direct comparison test, lost the little guy.
The tippy tip.
Yeah. Okay. So if you put what that is, then later you could put DCT. But why not just wait to put it